Welcome into the Hard Knocks postgame show brought to you by Dr. Pepper. We are on the air for the final time because the Bears will never, ever, ever do Hard Knocks again. It is our pleasure to welcome in the voice of the Bears, Jeff Joniak. Peggy Kaczynski is also with us. Adam Abdallah is with us as well, and others will join us. I've got the comments up, so if you want to make comments other than the guy who just wrote "Go Pack Go," screw you. I'll read those comments and relay them to everybody. But boys and Peggy, what did you guys think about today's episode?
A lot more. I think it was a lot more than we were expecting to get. I think that seeing these guys be told that they were being cut was pretty something. And we could do an entire show on how they feel about Eberflus Jones.
Yeah, they feel there's a role for him, and it's mega. I mean, it's multi-pronged. It's multi-pronged, clearly. Special teams coordinator Richard Hightower sees a role for him multiple ways, both in coverage and return game. Obviously, Chad Morton, the running back coach, loves what he can bring. Matt Eberflus talked about his explosiveness and game-changing speed, all of which he does possess. All of that's true. He is a really good gunner. He is a really good kick returner. He really has explosive traits, but now he's just got to make it happen. And, you know, this whole one ball and many skill player thing, it really gets congested when you throw another one in there. But I guess no team can have too many. And with injuries and matchups that you want to create in the NFL, I guess I'm all for it. I'm all for as many weapons as possible. And then I think you guys saw, and it is the way he is. Ryan Poles is an emotional man. And that was interesting for me to see that with Adrian Colbert in that way. And he's an open book. He's very transparent in all ways with players and with us in the media. So I was happy to see that.
And Abdallah, I'll get your view in a second. I know Black just joined too. What I like about the episode is something that I've been asking for before, and give us the behind the scenes access. You know, like too often we can get the interview with the dad. We can see the dads. We can get that. That's easy for anybody to give. What the Bears allowed today to happen was they brought us inside the room, a place we're not allowed. And that's the essence of what Hard Knocks was originally supposed to be. And I think many of us thought that the Bears were not going to allow the cuts to be shown. And it gave you what you just mentioned, Jeff. It showed you many different sides that I don't know any of us were expecting. The emotion from Poles. How were they going to talk about the cuts and keeping different guys? They brought us inside the room. And that's why I thought today was my second favorite episode next to, I think, week 2. I forget, week 3, I think it was, where I thought I got caught up in my feels today, as people like to say these days. I liked it. What about you guys?
Well, can I say one more thing? The most important thing that happened in the entire show, when he said, "It's time to win." Mm-hmm. That's it. I wrote that.
I wrote about that, and I couldn't agree more.
Time to win.
I mean, I didn't know this was Hard Knocks Eberflus Jones for 5 weeks. Like, that's all it's been. We didn't it was a fine episode. It was very emotional. I learned nothing about Caleb Williams. In 5 hours of programming, I learned nothing about Caleb Williams. He's the number 1 draft pick in the NFL. He's one of the faces of the NFL. There's going to be an article in the next couple of days that Albert Breer does about how a lot of execs and GMs thinks he's going to be a top 5 quarterback at the end of the year, and we know nothing about him. I finally found out that Montez Sweat exists on this team.
Yeah.
Didn't know that before today. If you're just watching Hard Knocks, like, this was a DJ Moore, Eberflus Jones show, and like, it's fine if that's what the Bears wanted it to be. But as far as someone who wanted to know more about the guys who we don't get a lot of access to other than what's on the field and what's on 1920 Football Drive, other than that, like, you didn't really learn anything about this team if you're just a casual fan of the team. Like, they didn't give you any insight into a guy that we hope is the face of the franchise for the next 20 years. There was nothing about Caleb Williams. And that's what I feel like everyone was tuning in to see. Yeah, the cuts and stuff are fine, and Poles is an emotional guy, and like he's probably he's easily one of the nicest GMs in the league. I think we learned that. But other than that, like, I want to learn about the guys that are going to be on this team for what we hope for is the next 15 years, not a guy that could get released in week 4 if he screws up a game.
I think, though, that every Hard Knocks always trails a theme of some player on the fringe, whether he's going to make it or an undrafted guy that really has no shot of making it and following that journey. So I don't think that's anything new at all. But, I mean, what do you want to know about Caleb Williams until he actually starts playing? And that's my question. I mean, they're not gonna throw everything out there on a rookie quarterback. I just heard Andy Reid on a show talking about how they protected the quarterback, meaning they protected Patrick Mahomes from all that attention as much as they could until he got his sea legs under him and started performing. So I think we've learned a ton about Caleb Williams from everything that's been done about him, but behind the scenes, just his interaction with his teammates and just his focus, even at the end, the focus. He's a very strong, mentally tough individual, and I think that's what I pulled out of it. That this is important to him, and it always has been since he's been 10 years old.
I love what we saw from Caleb. I got to be honest with you. I thought that there was so much under the surface that we learned that I don't. It doesn't bother me at all. I think that he would have been completely ripped if it was the Caleb Williams show. I think that he would have been setting himself up to be criticized over too much camera time and stuff like that. Listen, we can complain about the show Hard Knocks, and we complain about the Bears' access on Hard Knocks. But the reality is, I think you can see it. Most of the Bears starters did not want to be a part of this in a deep dive, and that's pretty obvious. And so the show itself did what they could with what they were given. And every team diverts attention away from the big stars. Where is there the biggest, issue? Where are there problems behind the scenes? They're going to divert that attention away and make you look somewhere else on this show. And they did it. That's what everyone else does.
Peggy,
it's fine.
Peggy, they did break news today on the show, Abdallah. Like, they gave us news that no other place had with the Velus Jones trade. So they could have, and I think this will be the biggest topic that comes away from tonight's Hard Knocks episode is, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, the way I interpreted this is that Poles was not going to take a draft pick that wasn't at least a 4th round pick.
Yeah.
If he was offered a 5th or lower, he was not going to take it. Now, this is a very debatable topic because they did take a 6th round pick for their starting quarterback last year.
Right.
Think about this.
Right.
Like, Justin Fields may have netted them only a 6th round pick. And if they were offered a 5th round pick for a guy who so far has not fulfilled the role for them, that's a very debatable football topic that they did present to you in the show that no one else reported.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and the Giants are looking for a quarterback. Again.
Well, actually, Sylvie, we did report that at Football Fest after Adam Schefter said that. And you knew when Adam Schefter said, "Oh, well, you look in the rooms that they're really heavy, and maybe there's some situations there that someone could get traded." And it was like antenna goes up. Oh boy, he must have been talking to Ryan Poles. Oh boy, there is definitely interest. Let's see, what are the 2 biggest rooms with the most competition? Wide receiver, running back. Yep. Yeah, there's some talks for Velus. Now, there's no doubt he was on the bubble. They said it. They kept pointing to him. So there's no doubt. But this love for him, he had better do some big things at some point.
With you. Black Hoodie, you guys haven't said anything. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I thought the episode was fantastic. I enjoyed everything about it for the most part. I think all of 55 minutes was interesting, worthy. It was the access that we wanted to see. I love everything that we saw inside of Ryan Poles' office, whether it be roster construction, the conversations, the one-on-ones, releasing players, the talk with Ian Cunningham afterwards about how tough that situation is. I thought it was great. I think I failed because I watched all of the episodes and the first 4 were boring as hell. Tonight's episode was worth it. So if someone's watching this feed, I would say just watch the last episode. That's all you really need. I thought tonight was fantastic. I have nothing bad to say about tonight's episode. It was great.
Hoodie?
I think this is the easiest job the Leaf Shriver's ever had. He looked at that script and go, "This is it. I have to go to Kate." I think he had a really easy time at this. Just like, oh, this is pretty good. I think it also kind of is good to piggyback on that point, how difficult the job is for Ryan Poles, because you're ending someone's Bears career time and saying, you know what, I love this guy. Like the Colbert deal was just incredible because he had to walk away, had to come back because Colbert meant something to the team. I think that it kind of shows you how difficult that job is when you got to say, you know what, we got to see you later because you're no longer part of the team. That's tough.
One thing about that too, about Colbert, I believe he's been on 10 different teams. And so and I've told you guys this before when I do research on guys, I'm just amazed at how many times guys keep coming back. They just will not end their dream, and they refuse to allow anyone to, end that dream. And so I think that's part of this too, is that Colbert he's a veteran, and he did play well in the preseason with a few exceptions. And that one play that I lost my mind on when he traveled all that ground to tap that ball away, that was a defining play in his ability still at his age to make that kind of play and have that kind of speed. So I think that's also part of this show, is that the guys that just never give up. And I think that's a good example to set for other younger players. Don't ever give up. Love how they feel about Reed as well, because that's clear to me, right? That kid's going to be okay. He's going to be a pretty good player. Don't know if he'll be a starter in the league, but I'm not going to put any ceiling on him. He's got something about him. He's got a great personality. It's not too big for him. He's a young guy, and he's mixing with the veterans like he's been there a while. So he's just got a lot of energy, a lot of juice.
Jeff, they're developing quarterbacks now, and who knows where they're going to go. But So if they decide next year they're going to have to trade Tyson because he's going to leave otherwise, and then maybe Austin Reed just moves into the Tyson Bagent role. Who knows? I don't know. But it's like teams like the Packers used to do, like the Patriots used to do, where you get assets for guys, even if your number one quarterback is really holding down the fort. You can never stop developing young quarterbacks. And even when the Bears didn't have a good quarterback, they never did that well.
No, and I think they believe in Shane Waldron. They believe in their quarterback room with the coaches and the assistants. They've got a lot of resources committed to the quarterback, from a passing game coordinator in Thomas Brown to assistant quarterback coach, guys that are part of this system, this tree of Shanahan and Sean McVay. So, yeah, think about it. I mean, it just kind of struck me, too. We got 2 rookies and a second-year player in the quarterback room, and they all can do a little something already. So it's not some guy you're like sweating it out if he's going to have to play. I don't feel that way at all about these guys. And I'm not saying that Reed would have any way of getting on the active roster, but you never know. I just think the way they built this thing up now, I think we're seeing that they want a very particular kind of player, and doesn't have to be just I don't know what you want to call it, but a pure nice guy or whatever. We got to have some badasses in there too. But how it all fits chemistry wise has been their mission since the day he took over as general manager, and it's been Flus's spiel as well. Got to have the right mix. And I guess you could say that about most teams, but it really is that simple to get to. And it's taken them some pain to get there, but I think they feel real good about everything.
I will say that they did save the best edit for the very last shot. Like HBO did a great job. You use a very popular TikTok. You guys know who that singer is, right? That Back to Chicago song. It's the dude from Stranger. It's the dude from Stranger Things. And
he went to DePaul.
Yeah, so he's in like a band, and that's their very TikTok popular song. But like the way it cut, like I'm a huge sucker for the edit. And when you edit and it ends, and you just get the Caleb like breathing and talking to himself, and then it cuts to black, like that was a goosebumps. Like, okay, football. Like there's a game on Sunday. Like that was hands down the
best episode for last.
Yeah, I mean, that was easily the best shot of like the whole series.
Yeah.
I don't know. They did. I mean, they're fantastic at what they do editing wise. Every aspect of it, and even from the beginning, just melding the Chicago music scene at the beginning, and embracing what this city has to offer, and its sports scene, obviously, in its history. But
that montage of practice too that we got tonight.
Oh yeah, that gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, where like Caleb is like always throwing, and like they're clearly just like editing together shots, and they did it so cleanly and so well. Like that was really good too.
Yeah, I got to give them their props on that.
I think the best thing for me is my significant other, Michelle, wanted to see the entire Hard Knocks. Us diehards and people that are watching this to be involved and invested in the Chicago Bears. But when we have my wife that will, kind of float in and out of the Bears, show here or there, but doesn't know the firm storylines. Like she was locked in on Ian Wheeler and that story of Ian Wheeler. She didn't understand why guys got to get cut. She was locked in on the Colbert story. She's like, why? Like this guy seems like he's a great personality. Why? It's like, and you turn to her and say, this is the business. This is the business of the football business. And so I think that part of it is interesting when you have someone like my wife that likes the Bears know the stories like we know it in and out, and she's asking me and turning to me, like pausing it and saying, like, why is this happening here? So that's when you know that someone's locked in on the storyline.
You make a great point, because I've had plenty of people that are only watching because it's the Bears. They have not watched all the Hard Knocks, and one of their big takeaways, players become, or even whatever the case may be, a sympathetic figure in the movie, so to speak, right? And like to your point with your significant other, I mean, who didn't feel bad for Ian Wheeler and his mom in that long embrace in the other episode, and then the tears and all that is part of it. I know it's sometimes we get hardened in sports to just, this guy's not good enough, but these guys are still the 0.1% they're getting a crack at this, that none of us, I guess, other than Tommy Waddle and Yurko, can understand, right? So it's
so none of us here.
None of us here. No.
The other thing, it's a TV show.
Hoodie, did you play football?
Yes, I did.
I bet you were a bad man out there.
I was a proud member of Mongo Chicago Slaughter special teams.
Were you really? I forgot that.
No,
that's pretty cool.
I forgot it until you brought it up. I forgot.
I think that's pretty cool.
Well, I was part of the special teams, and the story is that Mongo said, "All right, brother, Freddie, you're gonna be out there." And I think that the Slaughter were up by 6, and I was about to put my helmet on and hit the big shoulder, and the big hand said, "Close, can't have you out there." So I just sat the bench for the rest of the game.
Not today, brother.
Didn't want to have me messing it up. Well, special team penalty. Not yet, brother. Big hand right there, and then gave me the horseman sign. So
Oh my gosh.
Jonathan, you mentioned what Michelle noticed. I'll tell you what, in my household, what Autumn noticed was Caleb's Von Cleef necklace that he was wearing during practice and also in Eberflus's office. I'm told by sources close to me that that's a very fancy, elevated necklace that he was
Just
wearing.
goes to show you how soft practices are. He's
Yes.
not worried about it breaking.
Well, and I was told to
See?
make note that's something that would be a nice gift at some point.
Oh, okay.
So
This is
wow.
so they're getting
Black-
everyone involved with this.
Lex,
Wow.
this is what I was staring at his ear during the interview.
Right.
When it looked like I was staring at him, I was staring at his earring because it was taken by the earring, and I'm like, "What's he wearing up there?"
Right.
See, it brings everybody together. Like I was in episode 2, the touchdown he had, he put it into the bag. She knew exactly what that bag was. It was 2 bags that were the same. She called it out immediately of what that bag was. So that's why, again, we're into the football and the depth chart, and she's like, "Yep, I know what that bag is."
I believe it was said that Caleb's accessories are on point.
Oh,
So
Yeah. But you know what?
Quote is that aggregated by Ben Devine?
No, not yet.
Tough
So
climbing.
but this goes back to like Adam, when your disappointment with how much they've actually revealed between, I mean, Hoodie, between Michelle and Chris with Autumn, and my daughter Stella, she binged Hard Knocks this past week, and she ran upstairs to watch it today, and she had questions, and it was all about the emotional tug. But then when I mentioned something about it's the Leave It to Beaver version with no swearing, she said, "Well, what does that mean?" And I said, "Well, they edit out all the swearing." And she said, "Well, why?" And so like I had to explain that to her. But not only do we forget that this is a television show, but when you see all the guys like the Chief players coming up to the Bears on the field, and they're talking about, Travis Kelce saying, I like everything you're doing over there in Chicago. You got the city excited. And, players coming up to Caleb and talking to him about, on Hard Knocks, you don't get nervous, blah, blah. Everyone is watching, not just football players. There are other people too. So it's a funny mix that they have to walk. And I think the Bears were very, very adept at knowing what not to show for a reason.
No, I didn't expect it to be the Caleb Williams, Hard Knocks Caleb Williams. Like, I just would have liked less Hard Knocks Velus Jones and more so Hard Knocks Chicago Bears, and not just like the 4 players that they chose. Like a perfect example would have been this. Like, you don't need Caleb every single episode. I don't need like a feature on that. But I don't need the Australian punter driving to his first game at Soldier Field. Give me Caleb Williams driving to his first game at Soldier Field as in the preseason. Like, that's a simple thing that you could have done, and that would have been it. And like, that's fine.
Not true, because they submitted a list of players who were willing to have cameras follow them outside of Hallis Hall.
No,
And
I
so
get that, but my point is like that.
But that's not a simple
that's
thing
what
to do
I wanted
if Caleb
to
Williams
see.
said no.
I could still be upset that I didn't get that from the show.
Like Adam, one thing you said caught my ear, and I thought there was a good kind of mirroring of both scenes going on, and I thought we were going to get a little more of this tonight. And again, I loved the episode tonight. I thought it was really good. It took me places that I didn't think it was going to take me. So again, I preface all of that by saying it. But what I thought we were going to get to see the on-field stuff a little bit more when they were going to the Austin Booker Montez Sweat clip. I'm like, okay, here we go. The old savvy veteran who's now the new star of the Bears, taking the young, rookie under his shoulder. Let's see where this goes. How much is he going to teach him? How much are they going to show us? It was over in 20 seconds. Now, they gave us more on the other side with Roma Dunze and Jalen Johnson. And Joniak, I've been talking about this all camp, all OTAs, and it's been one of the things that I've been most impressed about with Jalen Johnson. He is one of the hardest workers in the building, and I think they gave the Bears fan another taste of that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to call the rookie over and say, hey, can you line up against me and give me a little bit of a workout here? And I thought, even though that was only about 2 minutes, it gave you a little bit more football and a little bit more inside.
Yeah, that's what happens every day at practice. Like, these guys pair up, they do stuff all the time. Offensive lineman asks defensive lineman to come do some pass rushes, vice versa, just to get a few little reps in. But that also speaks to where Jalen's leadership balloon is really starting to rise significantly. I mean, a case can be made he had the best camp of any Bear.
Yeah.
You can make that case. And it was legit. Like, he was playing some really good football. And I think adding the pieces that they did, you already know what he had to deal with DJ, but now Keenan, and now Rome is very talented route runner. You're getting really good talent run at you. So, but his leadership aspect and the belief and wearing the number 1, all that sends messages, and he's playing up to that level. So hopefully that'll continue. But it's interesting when the Bears released their captains, he was most prominent in the picture, if you'll notice, blanked by everybody else.
Yeah.
So, and I've said, until further notice, the secondary is really the heartbeat of the football team. Until further notice, they're the loudest. They're arguably the deepest. They are the most confident, right down to the third string player. I mean, it's an interesting group back there in the secondary, but they're really good at receiver too, and obviously in the skill position. So, yeah, I don't know. To me, it gets me extremely excited. More excited than I've been in a long time about what will be unveiled. And I'm not just focused on week 1 like a lot of people are already. I know, but I want to see how they weather this first month of the season, because they've got 3 young quarterbacks, 3 second-year quarterbacks they got to deal with. One who's extremely talented already and proving himself in Stroud, and then you got to deal with, a veteran in Matthew Stafford. So, going to be interesting these first 4 games, that's for sure.
How about the old Ryan Poles tape with some sexy Rex Grossman back there? That was awesome.
Yeah, I wonder where they. Yeah, I mean that was pretty cool actually too.
Was that a night? It looked like a night practice too.
Yeah, I thought it may have been. It may have been Soldier Field or
the high school.
Or the high school practice. Yeah, possibly. And the last thing, Adam, and I didn't mean to spar with you. I'm not a talk show host. I'm just a play-by-play guy.
Go after him, Joniak.
No, I'm not going after him. So then I want to emphasize too, you mentioned 1920, and they do whatever they allow, to be seen in that too. But they've been doing that for a while.
Yeah.
And so, I got to give them credit for even doing that over the years. It's certainly not going to be a production like Hard Knocks, but they do make efforts to get behind the scenes.
Jeff, a lot of teams, even some in this city, do not have great social media departments, and the Bears have a great social media department.
Yeah, they put out a lot of material.
Yeah, they put out great stuff.
And I don't mind when they ask me to voice that. I can pretend to be the Hard Knocks guy without the. I don't know. He does a nice job. I like his voice on there.
You think?
Yeah, he's pretty good. I wonder what he gets paid for that.
He's the best.
But he gets paid handsomely.
Oh, for sure.
Ray Donovan was one of my favorite binge-watching series.
Great show.
Disturbing. Makes you feel kind of bad as a human.
On the power rankings on the voiceovers, I've got Leaf Schreiber number 1, and then Peggy on Bolingbrook commercials number 2. Be Bolingbrook. Nice.
Anyway, all right, I'm going to fly, guys. Enjoy.
See you, Jeff.
Thanks for having me on. Look forward to week 1. Let's get it done.
Yes, let's go.
Bring the heat, everybody. Bring the heat.
Touchdown Bears. Let's go.
Let's win.
They wouldn't put a touchdown Bears in Hard Knocks.
I know.
I don't think they, Was that going to be too much homerism? I don't know.
It's because you have it trademarked.
It is trademarked. Yep. All right, guys, enjoy.
See you, JJ.
See ya.
Anything else, guys?
I do have a question, Sylvie.
Sure.
My question is, I was confused about the Eberflus estate. I was confused because we're watching it, and he's got this. He's the beekeeper, as we know. He's the new beekeeper. Beekeeper 2 met Eberflus, and so I'm watching like a lake. Is his house by the new Northwestern Stadium, the temporary stadium? I mean,
Further
I saw
north.
and I saw it. Are you sure?
It's at Lake Bluff, so I think it's right on the lake. I don't know Lake Bluff well, but I picture it like right on the lake in Lake Bluff. So I don't know if that's really, if you could see the skyline from there, or if that was done up by the cameras. But I'm not. Ask Cap. I'm sure he's been over there, hasn't he?
I'm just saying.
Unbeknownst to Eberflus,
so much creative energy. So many creative shots and editing. I didn't know. I thought does he live in Evanston? Because I saw this lake, and I saw trees, and I just was very confused.
It is an estate, though, isn't it? When you have we had Zach Pickens on at the end of minicamp, and he was telling us that he's never seen a mansion before until he went to the Eberflus house, and then we saw the pool in episode 1, and then he's got this whole beekeeping thing going on there, and then they're taking a walk out of what looks to be a forest in several acres of land. I'm like, damn, that coach, he's getting paid. That's an estate. Yeah.
I'm actually doing the show from the Eberflus. This is Eberflus's second living room right now.
I love that.
It's still it's still light out where Eberflus is. Yeah, it's still light out there.
It's always sunny in Bears land.
It's at TJ Moore's house.
No, did you guys know this? I couldn't believe that Waddle didn't tell us that DJ Moore bought his house.
It can only be handed down to former or current Bears coaches.
Yeah, or wide receivers now. It has to stay
or wide
family.
receivers. Yes.
You almost took that backdrop, but I was like, no, that Steinway piano has to be just for you. So I just went with the blur.
It's my house.
I almost took it.
Come on.
Yes.
Okay, wait a second. I am such an idiot. I did not, because you have not moved your head once, Adam. And so you couldn't see the green screen at all.
Yeah. It's definitely a green. You can see with my hands. It's definitely
right.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, Adam is making some coin.
Is that what the night show pays?
I was like, dude, maybe I do need to do more than 2 days a week.
That on the computer. She was going online to find out where you got that piano. That's what she was looking for.
Yes.
Steinhoffels.
Oh, nice. Do you guys want the description of the Eberflus house? Bill sent us one.
Yeah.
From when he purchased the house. So hopefully he's not just duping us here. But Bill wrote, it looks like he copied and pasted from, one of these, like the Tribune article or one of these real estate magazines. It says, Matt Eberflus and his wife, Kelly, paid $3.9 million on May 25th for a 7-bedroom, 8,900 square foot English Manor style mansion on Lake Michigan and Lake Bluff. The mansion has 8.5 bedrooms, 5 fireplaces, a 2-story living room with ornate woodwork, a library with a wet bar and French doors, and a newly renovated kitchen. The property has 307 feet of lake frontage.
This is giving me nightmares of producing Mike Murphy, because that used to be a segment, by the way, of him going talking about, look, Brian McCray, he sold his fucking house. It's Brian McCray. And he would read everything in the Tribune about the house that he sold. And yep, that'll bring him in. That's right, Murph. Keep reading. So gives us context of exactly where Matt was living, because that thing is beautiful. Imagine, Sylvie. So we can talk about this. Imagine 2 job, and it's you're gone, and you got all of this you got to pack up. So just think about it. 2 years with that kind of mansion and the bees. If he ever is gone, does he take the bees with him, or do the bees stay? I mean, I think those are big questions.
There's someone
He
that
was,
lives
he
across-
was just nonchalantly swatting away the bees. Is
yeah.
that okay to do? Do they get
They
mad?
become your friends. There's a person
Do
that
they?
lives across the street. Well, there's a building across the street from me that has bees on their garage roof. So like behind their apartment, they have like two things, like wooden things of bees on the roof of their garage. And then like 3 blocks away across Southport, there's the Southport bees. They have like their own Instagram account. And someone, I guess, someone like tried to like vandalize their house, the bee houses or something.
You do know that one of our best friends has bees, Abdallah.
Yeah, and that was going to be the third point. But there's like many bees in our
One
lives.
of our best friends has bees on his roof.
Is it Bro Connor?
No,
it's not Bro
our
Connor.
other best friend, Tim. He has bees.
Tim.
Yeah.
He's
not
a
like
bee
he's
guy.
trying to get rid of them. Like they have bees.
It's a big thing. Bees.
Yeah, bees are the new dogs, guys.
All right. I will see you guys.
Yep.
And that's
On
that.
note.
Yeah.
All right,
That's a hard
next
note.
week for the Sopranos thing, right?
Yes.
Next
That's
week?
when it debuts.
I don't know.
See you guys.
All right,
See ya.
bye.